My last book launch that took the book that took 34 years to write, the one before this, Your Joyful Years, was launched in lockdown. And I couldn't, I know, it was so depressed. I couldn't get out and do what I'm doing now. I couldn't see all the faces. It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So, what we're going to do today, and welcome to those online who can now hopefully hear me. Let me just double check. Sorry, I'm a bit paranoid now. I've sort of reduced them. Yes, they said yes, right. I'm going to ignore them now. So, right, brilliant, brilliant. I've just got to do one thing. My son, where's my son? Can you find somewhere to plug my phone in? Oh, there, that's all right, I've done it. I've done it. My son's made me done. I've done it. Flipping apple, thank you. Whoever made apple. Right, good. Let me just put them off a little bit more. All good online. Right, good. Right. So, welcome everyone. I know this is my son Aidan over here, the small, the very small person. And anyway, but he's going to tell me off to do this, but he's going to tell us we're turning into a hippie. But it's a bit woo-woo. But it's all been a bit crazy, and we're out there being loud, and it's Friday night. So I just wanted us to start. He's going to really tell me off, but just having a couple of minutes of calm and resetting. So I want everyone to close their eyes, including my son, and we're just going to. I hope you've had a really good week. Whatever your week's been, just park it now. First of all, let's just do some really lovely deep breaths. So, really deep breath in, and we can make a noise. Another deep breath there, and another. Now, just keep your eyes shut, and I want you to think. Obviously, tonight we're going to have some joy, but I want you to think about something you're going to do tomorrow and Sunday that's going to bring you joy, and just keep that in your mind. Really visualize it, keep it in your mind, and just go with it for a moment. I'll be quiet. Brilliant. I'm going to be day raving tomorrow and swimming and soldering on Sunday. But anyway, right, we can open our eyes now. Right, good. We've reset. We've drawn a line. Good. Sorry, Aidan. Your mum is staying busy. Right, so here it is. Right, there's lots of people to thank and lots of things to do. So my first ever podcast that I did, I can't believe I'm in the 4th year doing my podcast, but my first podcast, I always ask everyone their advice to their younger self. And the advice I gave myself, the first one of every year is with me, just talking about what I've been doing. And the first one I said, I need to be more still. And it's not been. How's that going? Yeah, how's it going? Obviously it's a work in progress. It's not covering. So that's why I just wanted us to be still at the beginning and I think we all need something about being joyful and really taking it on board. So this weekend only, let me just get this marketing thing out of the way. Right, we're playing the Amazon algorithm. So the 99p Kindle version, if you haven't got a Kindle, if everyone could just over the weekend pay the 99p, then I should be. Actually, this is really funny. So the person who's been helping with the book has put it in different sections, and it's playing the game of which section. And at the moment, it's in something like impotence. And something else, I can't remember what the other word was. I thought that was really funny. Anyway, it might be male, could do male sex anyway, but I thought it was quite funny. Anyway, first of all, I really must thank the Institute for Women's Health. So this is our final event of our International Women's Day events, and we run events every year. I know Judith Stevenson's not here, I haven't seen her. So Judith Stevenson's one of the other professors in my department, and she started running Institute for Women's Health events for International Women's Day every year. Then I took over quite a few years ago, and we've had a really brilliant team who have helped, and some of them can't be here. So one of the most amazing people is someone called Sarah Mayhew, who some of you know. She's the most efficient person I've ever met. She's having a spa weekend, which is a thumbs up for me. But without her and Holly Palmer, they have really been brilliant. They've really helped me organise tonight. And they're both busy, so none of them can be here, but really big thanks to them. And then a really big thanks to this person on the left in this photo is Professor Anna David, who's our Institute Director, who's also sent her apologies for this evening, and Alex as well. She's another person that's really helped us with all these International Women's Day events. And they all were fully booked this year. And I've done, if you've been following me on social media, you know I've done lots of crazy things in the last couple of weeks. So many events about women's health, and they've all been absolutely full. Which has been amazing, but it's certainly on the agenda. Now, this person in next to me is Nitu Arif, and Nitu is a really good friend of mine. We've done many events and things together. It was her book launch last week that I went to, and she opened our International Women's Day events by giving a talk about the history of the pill. And we titled it Liberation, and that was obviously play on words because it's a little bit of anyway. She went into all the sort of and she talked about male contraception, and I said I think my 3 sons should have some male contraception because I don't want to be a grandmother yet, do I? No. Anyway, I do talk about being not wanting to be a grandmother yet. But Nitu also wrote the foreword of my book. So yeah, thanks. Yeah, the last actually I wasn't going to read the last line, but let me read the last line of what she said. So anyone that's done a PhD will appreciate this. Yes, that Stella knows about PhD. But let me find the last line. If you know, she's a little bit controversial, and she says things, and she says, think of it as sitting down with a group of brilliant, unfiltered women who have gone ahead, taken notes, and they're now passing them back with a wink, a fan, HRT, vaginal estrogen, a vibrator, plenty of lubricant, and a strong cup of tea or something stronger in hand. So that's the wonderful Nitu. She's brilliant. So I'm so pleased that she's done that. So next slide. The big thank you is to the 50 women who I interviewed. It was such a pleasure and an honour to interview these women, and you're going to learn they work all around the world in all walks of life. You're going to meet some in the panel today, but there's some others in the audience. Sylvia, who am I going to be? Sylvia, Jackie, where's Rachel? Rachel's there, she's always in red. Petra somewhere. Oh, Petra's here, and Stella, and Shelley, and Kate. Who have I missed? Have I missed anybody? No, I think that's everybody. So that's some of the women here. They were really brilliant, and as you'll hear, they're sharing their wisdom with me was just fantastic, and now I'm sharing it with you. So I've got to do a really big thank to Wendy York. This is Wendy York. Wendy York has been my book agent, my literary agent for years. She helped me with my last book, and then we became really good friends. And she's one of the women I interviewed for the book. And I'd done all the interviews and then thought, what do I do now? What do I do now with all this information? And Wendy, as you'll see, lives in France. She runs a retreat, and she does a writer's retreat every year. And I went to the writer's retreat, and I met other authors who were all stages of writing, and it really unblocked and figured out how I wanted to progress with the book. And Wendy is really sad that she's not here tonight, but she sent a message. Let's check this tech works. It should work. We tested it.
Wendy York, I'm coming to you from southern France, from the banks of the mighty River Aude, where Joyce and I bring our wild swimming retreats every May and June. And I find aging wondrously expansive, liberating, and joyous. And I wish you a wonderful book launch, Joyce, and I so wish that I could be with you. Lots of love, everybody. Bye.
So it's great. Wendy and I, yeah, as you said, we when I was there for the writers retreat, she said the first night she said, I think we should run a yoga and swim retreat. It's a yoga studio there, and she's a wild swimmer. So we did one last year, it was sold out. We've got one in June, it's sold out, and next year's one next June is half sold out. So anyway, it's wonderful. And my sister Yvonne's here. She was at the one, and she says my sister Yvonne, and she was giving a wild swim, and she got a wild swim retreat. So now Mercy, where is Mercy? Where is she? There, she's at the back. So this is Mercy and I at the weekend in Brighton, because I did the big swim, and Petra was away. She lives in Brighton, but I stayed with her father, which is lovely. Thank you, Petra. And Mercy and I met up. Mercy's mum is one of my really long-term friends. And Mercy drew the cover.
Oh, wow.
I know. I know. Thank you, Mercy. It is the vision that I had in my head. I absolutely was trying to capture this, work with another artist for a little bit, and I was like, yeah, and I know Sophie Messenger's listening online. She's my shamanic drumming teacher, and we were at an ecstatic dance event a while ago in Cambridge. And these women, Sophie and a couple of women, started dancing in front of me, and they were doing this. And then later on, and Sophie had no idea about this, and then later on, I was doing this with Sophie. We weren't on the beach, we were in a hall. But yeah, it's really, really my vision. Also, a thanks to that list of people on the right, the people that have given up their time for free and written some praise for my book. And you can see there's some brilliant names, I won't read them all now, but brilliant people there who have written some really kind words praising the book. Now, Wendy came to me a while ago. There were 3 publishers interested in the book last year, but she came to me a while ago and said, I think we should hybrid publish. And she's still a book agent, a literary agent for many people. And she said, I'm doing it all like this. There are many reasons. One of the big reasons for me, having done the traditional publishing route, and those of us that are scientists, we publish our work forever, and it's a really difficult, clunky system that is very strange. I won't go into it now, but with book publishing, if you go, let's say it wouldn't be out for another year if it had gone to a traditional publisher. Also, the whole editing process and what they want to take out of your book is huge, and no one took anything out of it. Wait, it Wendy and I went through it quite a lot. Wendy was there, been absolutely brilliant going through it. But as a result, what a friend of mine, Gemma Christ, goes, she works in PR, and she said to me, why don't you ask some people to be sponsors? So I did. So I phoned some people up and sent some people on email. And I just want to thank the sponsors here. So we've got Almond Blossom's Fertility and Wellbeing Centre in Dubai. And I just wanted to send a big love to them all. I'm doing work with them. I'm supposed to be going out in May. Just got back from there just before everything happened. So I just hope they're all okay and that everything works out for them and that we get back to normal. And also the team at the ISIS clinic in Cyprus. I also am doing some work with them around especially menopause and fertility education and support. And then we've got MV Health here. We did some work a while ago on orgasms. Yes. Sorry, agent. He's always horrified every time I do anything to do masturbation and orgasm. Sorry. He has been slightly bullied by his friends for something like that. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, every help really to be sponsored by you and all about orgasms for sure. And where's Emma? No, oh, there's Emma. Emma and I do a lot of crazy things. Almost every day I see Emma, because Emma and Jane and Nick and I do our fitness classes together. And this morning we have done body pump, and we're having a little bit of competition, who is putting the 5 kilos on and 6 kilos. And then we did body balance this morning. So we get sweaty all the time. Yeah. Then we've got Zend, and Emma and her family were also one of the sponsors. And Alpesh, where is Alpesh? I've saved Alpesh till last. Okay. Alpesh helped make Aidan. So Alpesh was the first babysitter for Aidan. He looked after Aidan when he was an embryo. But Alpesh also helped put Aidan into my room. And seeing Alpesh at that end of my body was something that stayed with me a long time. So Alpesh, he's one of my work husbands. Absolutely brilliant. Right. Enough fun. Right. So these stickers I've got in this book are like, look. Right, I'm going to read. Lots of people have already asked me, why did you write the book? How did you write the book? Blah, blah. So I'm going to read to you. Right, drink. It's not wine, it will be wine later. So I'm going to read the prologue. I'm going to be part of the prologue. A gift from me to you. Embrace your health and happiness beyond 50. This book is a gift to women around the world. My intention is for every woman beyond 50 to live her best life and for it to truly become the most fulfilling and joyful time. We can do it. Writing this book and listening to these women changed my life, and I hope it changes yours. Why did I write this book? Almost daily, my mother, my sister will tell you this is true, wished people good health and happiness. She did, didn't she? Yes. And throughout my life, I've taken this saying on board and lived a relatively healthy and happy life. But at 50, having gone through the menopause, I became a single parent of 3 boys under 10. Oh, the other 2 are at uni. One's in the US and one's in York, so they've got, excuse me. And I felt it was time to take my mother's saying to another level so I could live my best life ever. I knew I was running out of time. So I think some of you know that my next book, something that really came out of here, is about dying. And I want it to be really positive. I want to talk about grieving. I want to talk about women that try to kill themselves. I want to interview. I won't go into it. Part of that. I am now a 62. I'm actually 63 now, but 62-year-old woman feeling the need to write about the power of postmenopausal life, because few people talk about the wonders of our second spring. Ta-da! Second spring, but here about a minute. To give you the permission and motivation to achieve good health and happiness, this is the first book to share so many stories about aging. Who is this book for? Everyone in this room, really. It is for women who are struggling at any age. I've especially seen issues for mothers when their children leave the nest, and at retirement for those who have worked. Life is a journey, and we all face challenges, particularly through divorce, grief, perimenopause, and ill health. I genuinely believe that it's never too late to find joy and transform our lives by reconnecting with self-care and self-love. It is not selfish. I do say that quite a few times. I think I say it about 4 times, but I think that's a really important saying. The most common response I hear from women is they don't have the time. I've had a lot of response to that in the last few weeks. They don't have the time to look after themselves. If you are in your 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s when you're reading this, you are nearer the end of your life than the beginning. We cannot wait any longer. If you want to live your last decades as a healthy and happy woman, now is the time. Through the honesty and wisdom of the stories in this book, I hope you will find inspiration to reconnect with your authentic self. But let's not do this alone. I believe women supporting women is incredibly powerful, and as I've grown older, the women in my life have become more important to me than ever before. Let's find our tribe and flourish. So I'm going to jump forward now. Oh yes, how did I select the 50 women? I've had some friends say to me, why did you interview me? I didn't really want to interview close friends at all. I did interview a couple of friends, but initially I chose a handful of women who I knew were joyful, and I used a method called snowballing, where I asked each woman for suggestions of other people to interview. So of the final 50 women, there are 5 who are long-term friends, 16 are acquaintances, most of which I've only met a few times, and the others were totally unknown to me before the interviews. So you've already met who they are. We need to see role models who are flourishing. These are the women in this book. So the rest of the prologue goes on about all the different sections of the book, but I'm not going to talk too much on that. I'm going to jump forward now to the introduction. So if you know me, you know that sleeping is my superpower. I've been waking up a lot in the middle of the night. And one of the things I woke up a lot about was the title of the introduction. Let me read a quote first. Tanya D said, "It's finally my time. It's all about me now. My family are still the most important thing to me in my life. You know that. But for the first time, I'm thinking about what I want to do." Okay, chapter 1 is called, sorry if I've offended anyone, we don't give a fuck anymore. Sorry. The stories of wise women. But is it true? Yes. Yes, thank you. Right. I'm going to talk about that in a minute still. Right. But many women, they have actually said that word, and I kept saying to Wendy, Wendy never hardly swears, and I said, I need to take that word out. And then she said, why do you need to take that? And then, anyway, I can see some people saying, no, don't take the word out. And I've asked many women, and I know some women are going to be a bit offended, but anyway, it's in there now. I did have sleepless nights. I woke up the night saying, I shouldn't have done it, shouldn't have taken it out. So, we are aging from the minute we are born until the day we die. We should embrace aging at every stage of our lives as a new adventure with new challenges. But society has a negative view about aging. Look at the anti-aging industry. Lots of the discussions I've done in the last 2 weeks have been about these sorts of things. What's that guy? Was it Brian Johnson? What's the crazy guy? I do mention him here now.
Brian Johnson.
But it's Brian Johnson, yeah, thank you. Someone I'm doing a project in the US in a couple of weeks, and this guy said to me, have you ever met him? I said, no. He said, I've met him. He said, he looks really good for a 60-year-old. He's not 60. And he said, close up, he said, it's a bit worrying, but anyway. So I just wanted to read, there's a bit more there, but I just wanted to read a poem by Donna Ashworth. And Donna and I met last year at the Big Retreat Festival. And she's a really beautiful person, and she's written lots of books about joy. She talks a lot about joy. But she's written one poem that she let me put in the book called The Concept of Age. Anti-aging as a concept is like trying to rewind the sunset every morning. It cannot be done. You are aging every minute of every day. There is no way to reverse that. It is the fundamental journey of life. Why not get used to that now and start to enjoy the process instead of dreading it and fighting? Believe me, there is much beauty you are missing. The sunrise may be gone today, but the sunset is just as beautiful, if not more so. And so are you, so are you. We are, we really are. So I am going to set up over there, at the end, a video camera. You can either do it tonight or you can do it another night. I've done quite a few of these already. I keep jumping on people who've got my book saying, do the video, do the video. I want you to just say who you are, so press record, say who you are, and then tell me what you think about aging. So whatever age you are, whatever gender you are, and whether it's positive or negative, I just want to capture what people think about it and give them a chance to say what they think about aging. And the panel, I'm going to ask the panel what they think about aging. And it was the first question I asked everybody. Right, the next chapter after the intro goes on to some of the ups and downs that the women had. And this is slightly, I'm jumping around a bit because I wanted to make it sort of fit together. But Tara, you're going to read about Tara. I don't think Jessica's here. Jessica's wonderful friend Tara, who has had a tough time. She had a really tough time, and she's very open about it. She's written a book about it, and she's just got a PhD as well, another one of the PhDs. And I just thought this summarises the ups and downs that the women talked about. Tara said, "I have had to heal myself to be in a place where I could be happy and let myself experience happiness. Learning to hold my wounds gently and to acknowledge them as a part of me. Those wounds form part of this big tapestry. There are dark bits, but because there are dark bits, it makes the light bits and the colours brighter. I think it gives me more depth and enables me to engage more richly with life and to see the colours more richly. And I think that is a deep sense of happiness on a different level. It is a kind of enduring sense of a little flame or fire inside me, that when everything is terrible, that flame is still there somewhere. It might be flickering, it might get a bit dull, but I know it is there and I can find it more often." So that's the next bit out of it. I'm just going to get it away, but I just think that's really beautiful. Oh, it's very nice to get rid of those. Oh, right, page 57, page 57. Right, so let's move on. Let's talk about happiness. So, right, Jo Mosley is a wonderful human being. Some of us know her. I was with her last week. We were doing a big swim together in Brighton, and several of my friends in Brighton weren't there, or busy doing this. Joanne as well, and Petra and other people. But Jo has got some really wise words. She said, "When you have been so sad, and then you find joy, you just don't want to ever let it go." I think that's a lovely quote. So, just a little bit about happiness. Happiness is a complex, multifaceted state that encompasses feelings of joy, contentment, and fulfillment. While it includes experiencing positive emotions, true happiness is also deeply tied to a sense of meaning and purpose in life. Its nature and causes have been explored across various disciplines, including psychology, philosophy, and neuroscience, each offering unique insights into what happiness means and how it can be achieved. Happiness is arguably the most essential aspect of our lives, certainly as equal as looking after our physical and mental health. My sister will agree to this. I didn't like my name when I was young. I just told some people I was Jo for a while. I didn't like that. Anyway, but my mother said I brought her joy, even though it was a mistake. Anyway, and now the word joy is so important to me as it is to so many others. And Donna has a brilliant book called Joy Chose You, which is really great. Over the years, I have asked hundreds of people what makes them happy and where is their happy place, including all the best guests on my podcast and the 50 women I interviewed for this book. And the answers are individual, but there are underlying themes. So from this, I made this. I mean, lots of you see these different wheels of health and happiness, but these are things that really came out of the book, and that's basically the chapters of the book. So many of us do not give ourselves the time, space, or permission to look after our happiness and self-care. I think self-care is non-negotiable. As I've said it again, it's not selfish. In this chapter, I want to explain what happiness is and the hormones of happiness, as well as answer the question, what makes people happy? Right, I've been talking for ages. I just want you now to spend a couple of minutes turn to the person next to you, and you can talk to Keith, and just tell them what makes you happy. Okay, so one of you do it for about a minute, and then one of you change around. So what makes you happy? You can do it three. I know what your thing is. So, one thing I wanted to check then. Oh, no, wait, I wasn't on the right page. Right, let's now move a little bit on to health. So there's a lot about happiness. I really think all of these things can help towards our happiness. But let's move on to a little bit about health. So when I was writing this book, I was reading Bill Bryson's book, The Body, A Guide for Occupants. And he says in his book, he says, we live in an age where we are killed more often than not by lifestyle. And I've just been, a lot of the events I've done in the last few weeks have been about tech and about ways to help our lifestyles. And what I wanted to call the Institute for Women's Day events was back to basics. And when you start saying, we need to look after all of those things on the left side, everyone goes, oh yeah. There's no quick fix, okay? We can't take a magic pill, and there's loads of people now calling out about these supplements and things that are going on. But Bill Bryson said that while medical advances have extended life expectancy, the most powerful tools for health remain the simplest, including nourishing food, regular movement, quality sleep, mental well-being, and social connection. Yep, they're all on there. He explains the scientific evidence and illustrates how modern lifestyles often work against our biological needs with ultra-processed food. So I was so thankful to Chris Van Tunicum for giving support for this book. And I've done a bit of work with him over the years, and his brother. Actually, I've done more with Sam. But yeah, I think his book is brilliant. There's loads of things coming out now about how this affects so many aspects of our lives in a really negative way. But also sedentary habits and chronic stress undermining the body's ability to function. And Jo Mosley, another quote from her, she said, lots of companies promote quick fixes and there are a lot of products on the market. I think the standard advice is to move your body, eat nutritious food, drink water, look after your sleep, have healthy relationships and have purpose. But nobody can make any money out of that. It's so true. Right, so I've asked this a few times this week, the last couple of weeks, in the events I've been to. Does anyone feel they really have time to do everything on there? Does anyone? I don't. I don't know. We don't. Rachel does. Oh,
Except sleep.
Yes, sleep, right? I've been rubbish the last one.
Due to sleep, still out.
Yeah, we are probably should sleep. I was in a conference the other day. What? In a room. Look at them. I was in a conference a few weeks ago. It was that, I have to say this very slowly, the gynecological endocrinologist meeting in Rome. There was a whole session on menopausal sleep. And you know what they were just saying? All three talks were about the drugs you can give women to help sleep. Isn't that really, really insane? There's lots of pillars of health here. I just want to talk a little bit about two of them. I want to talk about mental health and I want to talk about friendships and communities. I've got to go to page 280. Hold on. I've checked this so many times, honestly. So our mental health, chapter 14 is called A Healthy Mind for a Healthy Life. Actually, I mustn't lose that bit because I've got to go next. Manage stress, mood and well-being. And Stella is the first quote on there. People expect their mental health to be okay without putting any effort in. We're not going to be happy all the time. These feelings are signals to look at what's going on and what do we maybe need to change in your life, which is very wise words. So this is a bit more from chapter 14. Our minds shape how we experience the world, how we think, feel and connect with others. When our mental health is good, we can cope with challenges, recover from setbacks and find joy in everyday life. But when our emotional balance is unsettled, even small things can begin to feel overwhelming. The term mental health covers a broad range of emotional, psychological and behavioural issues, from short-term stress to long-term mental illness. And I think in today's society, it's so easy to become stressed by all of the crazy way that we're living our lives. I think we've really got to pay some attention to it. Right, I've got to go to page 112. Very complex this. Right, 112, it's that one. That's that one. That one. Hey! Right, so we started at the beginning with a little bit of a relaxation, and people often say to me, do you actually relax? People that know me know that I do really relax. I do lots of things. So there's a section in this chapter called It's Time to Relax. And Catherine said, I asked all the women how they relax. She said, I relax by reading a book, my legs up, sitting out in the garden, having a cup of tea, or meeting a friend for coffee, going for a walk by myself, listening to music. So I just wanted to say that relaxation should not be seen as a luxury, but as an essential part of maintaining health and well-being, as important as exercise or good nutrition. In a world filled with constant noise and distraction, taking time to pause and simply be present is increasingly important for maintaining physical health and emotional balance. People who prioritise relaxation often find they cope better with daily challenges and feel more grounded and resilient. Over the long term, making time to relax may also help protect against conditions linked to chronic stress, including depression, cardiovascular disease and dementia. One way to understand why relaxation is so important is to look at what's happening in the brain. The brain produces different patterns of electrical activity known as brainwaves, which reflect how alert, relaxed or asleep we are. Alpha waves are associated with relaxed wakefulness, such as when we are calm, resting or quietly reflective. Beta waves are linked to normal waking consciousness, including thinking, problem solving and focused mental activity. Gamma waves are the fastest brain waves and are associated with high levels of cognitive processing and intense concentration. Theta waves are slower and occur during deep relaxation, daydreaming, and the transition between wakefulness and sleep. And delta waves are the slowest brain waves and dominate during deep restorative sleep, when the body carries out much of its physical repair and recovery. It is important to spend time in beta and gamma. That's where we get our work done. But living in a near constant state of high alert can make it harder to switch on, disrupting sleep and contributing to stress, anxiety, irritability, and over time burnout, which I'll talk about in another chapter. Regular relaxation helps the brain shift more easily into slower rhythms, including alpha and theta, which support calm, restoration, and emotional balance. Aidan, you spend too much time in beta and gamma. So that's what we were trying to work that out recently. And I want to say now, so I don't think my school friends are here yet, are they? They're coming a bit later, but I told them to listen in on the train. I'm going to mention a little bit about, I'm almost at the end, look, 311. I tell you a lot, there's a lot to say about friendships and community. I think they're really important. And loneliness is a real killer. It kills us for various reasons. I explained it all in there, you can read it, I won't say it now. But I wanted to say something about finding our tribe. And I don't think it's ever too late. So people have told me, they say, well, I haven't really got those really good girlfriends and I'm struggling. One thing I say is contact some people that you used to know that you might have lost track with and reconnect with them. Mercy's mum, I haven't seen her for years, and we're just like we were yesterday. And another friend, when I was in Brighton on Friday night, I caught up with a uni friend. I had literally, we reckon it's 40 years since we've seen each other. And it was just fantastic. We are going to see a lot more of each other now. So it's really good to reconnect with people. It's never too late. No one should feel lonely, but we have to make an effort. No quick fix. So this is about finding your tribe. There's a lot more, but I'm just going to do a little bit. The importance of women's circles lies in their ability to provide emotional healing, reduce feelings of isolation, and offer strength in times of need. Research shows that social connections improve mental health, reduce stress, and boost physical well-being. In women's circles, participants gain wisdom from shared stories and experiences, empowering one another to grow, reclaim their voices, and navigate life's challenges. In an era where women feel overwhelmed by the pressures of modern life, women's circles offer a return to community, belonging, and shared human experience. Whether through sacred rituals, collective activism, or simply shared emotional support, these gatherings remain timeless pillars of female empowerment, resilience, and sisterhood. I've always been a huge fan of women's circles and women's spaces. When groups of women come together, they foster deep connections and have the psychological benefits of being part of the group, belonging, sharing a shared identity, collective support. And I think that post-menopause, this has become more important than ever. In 2012, I set up a website called Global Women Connected, where we wrote blogs about various women's health issues, but we never got any funding for that, so we never continued. And I love running my monthly women's group, the Purple Tent, in my town. I'd say more about that earlier, so I'll just a little bit here. In my research about menstruation and menopause, I have run many focus groups with women as young as 15. When I undertook a study with schoolgirls about menstruation, I was thrilled to hear most of the girls say they found support from their peers. Running focus groups with older women showed the power of women's circles, a place for women to share and listen. Several of the women in this book said they feel closer now to their female friends than they did when they were younger. As a postmenopausal woman, I feel so much more in tune with the women I meet than when I was younger. Now there is no agenda, no competition. We have done our mothering, career, romantic partners. Now is the time for our sisters. I really noticed how these relationships have changed with my long-term group of school friends. It's still not here. Anyway, except they're not here. They told me they were going to be late. We have kept in contact over the decades and met up fairly regularly. When we were younger, sometimes there was an undercurrent. That was quite mild, actually. That description was quite mild. It was a lot worse than that. Anyway, but now it is amazing. Every time we meet, I come away feeling huge love. And it took me quite a few years to realise that. But I'm just going to read the first two. There's loads of comments here from the women about their women's circles and finding their tribe. Jessica was the first one I wrote, and she felt exactly the same as me. My school friends, we've become really close in this decade of our life, closer than we've ever been. Earlier in our lives, some were having children, some were doing careers, and now we are who we are. And Gingy said, I've noticed as I've got older, I crave the company of women. Recently with some friends, we danced in the kitchen. We didn't give a shit. I think that through your 20s and 30s and your 40s, there is maybe a bit of competition. That's gone at this stage of our lives. I think we become much more accepting of all our weird and wonderful ways. Right, I am almost at the end. Look, there's only 2 stickers left. Hooray! And then I'm going to stop talking. So I just want to read 2 little bits from the very, very last chapter of the book. Chapter 16, the future is yours. Reflect, reimagine, reinvent. It is time to reflect, reimagine, and reinvent. Each chapter of this book has offered you tools to support your good health and happiness, but the path forward is uniquely yours. I trust that you now believe that life in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond can be one of the most inspiring and fulfilling stages of your life. Age is not a limit. It is an opportunity. I have shared the wisdom of 50 remarkable women. Listening to their stories has taught me so much, and I hope their insights have resonated with you. So the very last part of the book, each chapter, at the end of each chapter, are final thoughts to take with you. We spent a lot, Wendy and I spent a lot of time working on these. Anyway, this is the very last one in the book. This stage of life is not an ending. Every experience, every lesson, and every challenge has led you to this moment where new possibilities await. Embrace your health, nurture your happiness, and live with purpose. Whether you choose to explore new passions, deepen your relationships, or simply savor the beauty of everyday life, remember that this is your time. Age is not a limit. It is an invitation to live boldly, love fiercely, and thrive unapologetically. Go forward with confidence, knowing that the best chapters of your life are still unwritten, and you hold the pen. I trust you find your joyful years and live as the woman you were always meant to be. So much the last few weeks I don't want to talk anymore. Right, but I want my wonderful panel. I wanted to get all of the women. I wanted to get all of the women I interviewed up here, but I couldn't get them all up. Couldn't get them all up, so we just had got a few of us up. Grab a drink. Grab a drink. Right. So come up. We've got Kate, Stella, Jessica, Shelley, Nitu. I think I'm going to stand. I'm going to get my phone to check the questions. Oh. So we're going to start. We're going to start by. I want to ask you. So actually, first of all, I'm going to start. Just do a little bit of introduction about who you are.
Oh, well, very much you. I will be.
Who are you going to be?
I don't know, the second spring maiden. So, no, my name's Kate. I'm an author, a facilitator, and a speaker, and I specialise in menopause and ageing.
Brilliant.
Hello, I missed the email about sparkles.
Oh!
It's kind of really like.
I always go sparkle.
I'm Shelley. I'm a coach, a life coach, a writer, a workshop facilitator, and I'm currently training to be a Gestalt counsellor. And Joyce, just your energy, all those classes you've done this morning, and you're like, that's me.
I'm Jessica. I'm really nervous right now because sort of in 2025 I would have called myself an author, arts producer, and adventure activist, which is what my website still says. But I am on radical pause at the moment, and I'm not doing anything. And I didn't even tell Joyce that I was going to come to this until the beginning of the week. And then this morning someone dropped out and she said, would you be on the panel? And I said, yeah, of course, Joyce, of course. But I'm really nervous. I actually don't know who I am anymore. Yeah, and
I'm Stella. I'm a novelist and existential psychotherapist. And the reason Joyce kept pointing at me about PhD is because at 60, I'm having not just been the first of my family to go to university, but the first of my family to finish secondary school. I got a doctorate, and my PhD is in the embodied experience of post-menopause, which is going to be my first non-fiction book that comes out next year. So I do now know who I am. I've definitely not known who I am a lot of the time.
Nitu.
Thank you, Joyce, for inviting us and for the wonderful book. I am a joyful woman.
Good.
My name is Nitu Bajekal. I'm a gynae consultant for lost count how many years, 40 years. And I've written a couple of books, and I just love being here and in the book as well.
Yes, brilliant, brilliant. Right, so the thing I want some of you to do, all of you to do, or to do it here or at home, as I said, holding the book, talking about what you think about aging. And this is the first question I asked when I interviewed you. Actually, I don't think I asked you this, Jessica, because
No,
Jessica, so I'll tell you now, Jessica was the first ever person I had on my podcast and the first person I interviewed for this book.
That's probably why I'm on radical pause. Doing it together.
I'm stressed out because I've made her do so many things over the years. So there's a definite theme going on there. But I didn't ask Jessica and the first, I think, 2 or 3 women what they thought about aging. And then I had this, the conversation with one of the first ones, I thought, oh, I need to ask them about aging. So I am going to ask you that. So I'm just going to go down the line. But what do you think about aging?
I love it. I love it. I have never been happier than I am now. Being a teenager was tough. Being a parent was really hard. And the more further I get into postmenopause, just the happier I get. I'm stronger than I've ever been. When I don't know what I'm doing, that's fine too. I've really made peace with myself. I'm really grateful when I get up in the morning.
Shelley?
Oh, I love it too. I love it. I've got nothing to prove to anyone. And I'm grateful every day as well. And I'm a lot more curious about life and a lot more kind of taking chances and taking risks within reason. But I'm grateful to be here when a lot of people aren't doing so. I just get up and go, yeah, why not? Here we go. But yes.
Jessica?
I'd say it's inevitable. You might as well look her in the face.
Yeah. Good, so.
I had my first cancer at 36. I had my second cancer at 50. At 60, I had a ruptured brain aneurysm and brain hemorrhage. The fact that I am alive to age is such a fucking privilege. And the reason when you said, whatever, and I went, I don't know if we're saying we don't fucking care, because unfortunately we live in such a depressingly ageist culture, and it's misogyny. As a woman who is childless not by choice, it's misogyny that is about both menopause, which makes us infertile again, just like we were at 9, and makes us old, is so brutal to us. So I love aging, but that's because I've so often nearly died. And I wish that we didn't have to be nearly dead to know how brilliant aging is. So I hate the fuckers who tell us.
Sorry. For me, I think whenever I think of aging, I sort of, in my mind, separate it out into 2 bits: the mental aspect of aging and the physical aspect of aging. I think the physical aspect of aging is inevitable, but I think the mental aspect, for me, I can't speak for everybody else. I never was, in my head, I'm 20, 22, push. And that's how I want to be for the rest of my life. And I became menopausal at 38 and was very hesitant to talk to my male colleagues because I was the only woman there, and my GP refused to give me hormone replacement therapy. And this is, at the time when the WHI study came out and all the stuff, so they just weren't willing to listen. I should have spoken to my male colleagues because they were actually very, they would have listened to me, but I felt that I would stop myself from reaching a place where I wanted to be. So aging for me, I think we often say, you become old, you stop playing because you got old, but actually, because you stop playing, you become old. And I just want to be that 22-year-old always.
Well, I'm going to take something up there. So, one of the, I've been speaking to some journalists about doing pieces about the book getting there. And one of them said, could we write about tips to make you feel 20 years younger? I took a deep breath and didn't want to say fuck off. And I said, that's not quite the I said it much nicer than this. Anyway, that's not what, but do we want to feel 20 years? No, we don't want to feel 20 years. Because like 20 years ago, I think it's 23, okay? 20 years ago, I had 3 children under 3. I was doing all those things that were, and 40 years ago, who wants to be, I definitely do not want to be 18 again. I don't want to be 25 again. Life's a journey. We've done those things. And yeah, so I think it's not about trying to roll back the clock and pretend we're 20 years younger. We just need to enjoy this journey and embrace it. So yeah, I did have.
I can't be 20 years younger. I can't be 20 years.
It's fine. Yeah. So
A waste of my life.
it is wasted. Right, we've got some specific questions. I'll start with this. I'll start the other end. So you've written a brilliant book, which with a great title, Finding Me in Menopause. Finding Me. Anyway, it's very good, very good. And
I was lost.
but what I loved about your book was it was one of the first I read that really takes into all the things I've been talking about, all the lifestyle parts. So can you tell us a bit more about what you wrote in that book?
I wrote it because it was a book that I would have benefited from when I became menopausal at 38 and I had nowhere to turn, should have had hormone replacement therapy. But what I have tried to bring out in the book and speak to people is that why there's this big movement towards everybody getting hormonal therapy. We don't talk enough about this lifestyle. Lifestyle starts from the time we're born to the day we die, and there are so many aspects. Not every pillar has to be adopted, but little changes, little steps that we can take, because a lot of women can't take HRT. A lot of women don't want to take HRT. A lot of women feel scared because of all the media, misinformation that's out there. But even if you are on medication, there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be prioritizing sleep, putting ourselves first, making sure that we are nourishing our body with good food, good friends, making sure that we look after our mind. I just feel that those aspects are not talked about by my medical profession, and it is my wish to bring both the medical side and the wellness side together, because there are so many aspects, and we should never forget the person in the middle, that is the patient or us. We can benefit from both. And I think doctors do a disservice by poo-pooing lifestyle and wellness people who the hormonal side. And I think it's important to try and realize that there is a meeting in the middle.
Yes, I totally agree. No quick fix.
No quick thing.
Stella, we've heard now, you
Yes.
recently finished your PhD. Stella wins the prize for the longest interview. We had to do it in 2 stages. We talk a lot. We had a lot to talk about, but we still haven't been swimming.
No,
So I am complaining. I
The
am.
sea is not going to stop.
No, it's not. That's the shit in it. So you did a brilliant work on postmenopause. And we talked, that's why we've been talking a lot, more than the others. Tell us a bit about what you found. I know you're writing this up now.
So I've been postmenopausal since I was 36, which is when I had my first cancer, and chemo made me menopausal, and dear God, in 2000. You think people aren't talking about it now? It was so good when my friends finally became menopausal. They finally, 20 years after they caught up. But because my first and second cancer were both breast cancers, HRT was not appropriate or relevant. And so I've been postmenopausal for a very long time. So when it came to look at from an existential psychotherapeutic perspective, which is what my perspective is in my research, what postmenopause could be, I was really interested in speaking to a wide range of women. So they're not all white, and they're not all heterosexual, and like me, they're not all able-bodied. Seriously, I'm delighted for the changes that have happened, but the fact that the vast majority of what we have seen as menopause awareness has been white, cis, middle-class women with their healthy, non-disabled bodies. I'm like fucking sick of that shit. The rest of us also count. And so the women in my research are just like Joyce's, a very broad range of women, but also they're coming to it from really different perspectives. And every single one of them is thriving in postmenopause. This lie that our lives are over at menopause, and the marketing people really want us to believe that, so we go and buy their menopause chocolate. The absolute lie. It was such a joy to share the responses of people who are from a very different backgrounds about how much they are thriving in postmenopause, because we need to hear that story too. And it will be published next February by and it's called Being the Change. Because the change is a better term. Menopause was invented by a man, so more women came his clinic in 1821, and Philippe Gardin made up the term. It's not an old term, it's not originally Greek. If we called it the change, we would acknowledge that we were in transition, and there is another side. Our grandmothers were right when they called it the change.
Yeah.
Menopause was just invented by a bloke who wanted us to come to his clinic.
And
1821.
and this is what my book's about as well. So there's so few people talk about any positivity. So for the younger women in the room, you do. Jackie does as well. Jackie does as well. But there's so few. There's so few of us. We've got to shout loudly, and we don't get as much effect because people love negativity. We love it. In our society, we love it. We love these terrible. I always say there's nothing happy about Happy Valley. It was. I'm going to watch it. Anyway, I know. I did think it's Sally the other day, but I didn't tell her that. Anyway, but I want to say what? Why so much violence and anger and problems? But I feel worried for this view that we're painting for the younger generation. So, okay, well, none of us are saying menopause is easy.
No.
None of us are saying menopause is easy. I've got a whole chapter about how difficult many of the women found this transition. But what we are saying is that, Rachel, you have the best saying about the tunnel and the cave. Shout that out.
Yeah, we tend to think that it is a tunnel. Well, no,
A cave.
it's a cave. It is a cave, and that we're going to be in menopause and in this state forever. But it is very much a tunnel, and we come through on the other end, and there's bright light at the end of the tunnel. And we are different when we've gone through menopause.
And your other great one about
The end of my fertility has become the most fertile time of my life.
it's in the book. They're in the book. So brilliant. Right. So I'm going to take Kate, you often connect women's health with the seasons. I love that. And you've written a couple of really beautiful books. First book, Second Spring, good title. She grabbed it. Can you explain the what?
And you can read it.
Yeah. So and there are lots of cultures. I have a slide with all the different words from different cultures, like Japanese is skenki, that's probably saying it wrong. And the Maori people have a brilliant word, but I'm not even going to try for that. They're all about celebrations of the wiser woman and the rebirth and all those. They're all there. And what do we do in Western society? Oh, you're going to have this dried up old crone. Guess what? We're not dried up old crones, okay? But you really celebrate this, and I love your work around the seasons. So tell us more about it.
Well, if you think about Second Spring, this was a term, it's not a new thing. It was invented like more than 2,000 years ago in the Yellow Emperor's book of Chinese medicine. So it's been around for a very long time. And the traditional Chinese medicine use it to describe menopause. So we understand that as a year since your last period. And a time of renewal, a time of greater energy. And if you think about that in terms of following an autumn and winter of perimenopause and menopause, when it's more inward and quieter, more sensitive, or more permeable, then it makes sense that we come back out again into the world. And the Chinese talk about in menstruating years of energy descending, energy going downwards towards the earth as when we're menstruating. And then when we finish menstruating, the energy changes and comes back up again. So it comes into the heart and into the throat and into the crown of the third eye and the crown chakra. So, you know, we're actually agreeing with you, the Yellow Emperor. So it comes into the heart, so we are more joyful, or more angry, or more passionate, or more, we're more embodied, I think. For good or ill.
Yeah.
For good or ill. And we find our voice more clearly. And we have a greater connection with our spiritual life, and that might mean a churchy kind of thing, but really it means understanding that we're part of something bigger, than part of the community. There's, you know, I'm sure you talk about grandmother theory and all that kind of stuff, and the importance of the community. So our energy changes direction, and in second spring, it takes a little time, as you know, it's from the storm of menopause, and it's all kind of exhausting, and everything's all going on, you're all in the process of change for some time, and then the storm lands, and you kind of post-menopause people are standing, you kind of take the while to ground yourself. You're like, what was that? Bye now. And you know, at that point, people get a bit dizzy. Look, there can be a lot of anxiety at that point as well. I mean, sorry, perimenopause people, there is something else that happens. They can be very disorientating because you meet the colossal wall of ageism, like you sort of used to all that you. It really made me laugh. I read somewhere that 46 is the age of invisibility. It's like, wait till 50. That's why we're all wearing sparkles today. What was I talking about? Yeah, so arriving can be it can take a while, I think, post that second spring part, but then there is a second summer. And I do feel that that's when we're more grounded, and that's when the energy really comes into our heart, and we really sit into our passion. We get more connected with our calling, whether that's to do with our work, or whether that's to do with enjoying the robins in your garden, or we're really engaged in the world in a different way, and a second autumn and a second winter at the end of life. So that's how I see the life season. And in terms of culture, cultures that are misogynistic, you know, I think the more misogynistic the culture, the more women suffer, the more shame there is around menstruation periods, the less education there is around periods, and there's a sort of like it's falling dominoes. There's a knock-on effect into menopause and into post-menopause. So what my hope is that for young people like my daughter's age, she's 20 now, and very comfortable with her menstruating life because I'm shoved it down the throat for you. You know about the season starting. Say it, you're sorry, sick of it. But she talks about it easily, and then when she comes into perimenopause and menopause, it'll just be something that she deals with. And I want to point out that, no, I mean, look, I talk to a lot of people in different countries about menopause, and they say, oh, we're behind you. You know, the amount of change we've seen, even in the last 6 years, is absolutely phenomenal. So people like Joyce, the menopause mandate, Carolyn Harris in Parliament, all these people, and all the people, all you lot, who are talking about periods, who are talking about menopause all the time, who are talking about ageism with your friends, with your mates, and banging on, we're all banging on all the time about it. It all makes a huge difference, and it all has a knock-on effect. Yeah, so the only cultures where menopause is positive are the First Nations people of New Zealand and Australia and North America. And that is because, like, no shit, older post-menopausal women are spiritually.
In Maori, the word for old woman is kuia, queen. Or fire, WHAEA, which means which is an honorific for auntie, but in Pākehā English it sounds like fire. So an old woman who ever wanted to stand up and speak when everyone else would sit down and shut up because of the respect granted to elder women. Because all elder women are clear.
Can we move that?
I want to pick up something you said about you're hoping that your daughter will speak to you about perimenopause. A couple of the South Asian women yesterday said that they tried to speak to their mothers about perimenopause, and their mothers refused to talk to them. Has anyone, and you might not want to admit it, but has anyone tried to speak to their mother about menopause and they didn't talk to them, or they haven't had that conversation? Few people sort of nodding.
My mother was great.
Yeah, my mother was great.
Yeah. My mother told me about menopause when she told me about sex.
Oh.
But my mother was working class southeast London who had to work since she was 14. She didn't have me about the middle class crap about don't talk about those things. And I think there's a classist element to this too.
Yeah. You mentioned the grandmother hypothesis, I mentioned it as well. So the grandmother hypothesis is that you probably know that there's only a few species of animals that go through menopause, but there isn't, it's not just whales, there's a growing number actually. I don't think people actually looked before, anyway, they are looking and they're finding them, and then this is getting longer every time I look at it, yeah, no shit, eh? It's amazing. But the grandmother hypothesis is that humans go through the menopause so that we will look after our grandchildren. And when I was writing the book, I thought, what? I'm sorry, but why can't women, men don't have to look after people when they're 60, why can't we just enjoy ourselves and be on this planet because we want to have a good time? And listen, I know many people who are grandparents who are loving being grandparents, well, please over there, Mark. And I know many women love being grandmothers. Oh, Amy, yeah. But we could just enjoy ourselves and just have joy in our lives. So, right, Joe, yes. So you're a coach and creative mentor of many other things. And I just wanted to talk about play, because Lizzie mentioned play a bit. And your quote, I'm going to read your quote that you said in the book. I think we need playgrounds for adults. I went down the zip line with Stella and I loved it. At what point do we stop playing? I think adults need to play and we lose that. Playing, having fun, laughing, having adventures and new experience is part of life. So tell us more about play.
I just think it's really important as we get older. When we're kids, we kind of do stupid things. We climb on walls. I mean, we walked past big walls and gone, should we do it? Should we do it? You know, and she's got 2 minutes and then we need something.
She can't break them. Well, maybe, yeah.
But I think we come to a point where we stop playing. We kind of, I don't know when it happens. I don't know what time in our life it happens. But how many of you here have noticed that when you were younger, you were playful? You did things not competitively, because for me, being playful is not at all competitive. There are quite a few nods going on. But I love playing. I think just being silly, just doing things for fun. I mean, we did go down to the wire, and I'm really scared of heights, but I did it anyway. I do things, I kind of take risks, not to put my life in danger, but we did a 5K tough mudder, which was running through mud in a car. Great fun. I managed to get 5 other women friends to do it, and they regretted it afterwards. But Stella did it, and at the end, you ran through foam. Was it foam?
At the time, it was before both hips and knees. I wasn't going to do the big jump.
But I thought, no, I'm really scared of heights. So what am I going to do? I'm going to climb up this really high ladder, and I'm going to jump off it and land on this really big, wide, hopefully soft thing mattress. And I stood there, and the person next to me goes, can I stand? And I just went, well, what is the worst that could happen? And I jumped, and that moment of transition from jumping off, and it happened really quickly, and landing, it was absolutely fantastic. And so I think doing little playful things like that are really exciting.
Yeah, well, terrible.
I wouldn't do it.
It's like, you know. When I was a lot younger, I did a parachute jump. I was 26.
I'm not scared of heights. I wouldn't do it.
I parachute jumped at 22. I'm 66 and a half now. And I just thought, oh, I'll do a parachute jump. What, you know, and I didn't think about it. And I think there is a thing about getting older about it takes longer to recover. So I don't want to put any of my body in danger, because I know it's going to take me a lot longer to recover. And I'm quite fit. I go to the gym, I have a personal trainer, which I could never understand why anyone had a personal trainer. And then Stella is my wife, I should say. Stella bought me 6 gym sessions for my birthday last year. I was like, well, I just think you're going to love Sean and you're going to be completely obsessed by it. And I'm now on my 5th lot of 6 weight training, really, really important for us. But yesterday, so I'm doing a training to be a counsellor, and last night I am unfortunately the oldest in the group, and the youngest is 27 and I'm 66 and a half. and somebody, we were in a room like this, but there was a really loud buzz, and I said to the group, sounds like on an aeroplane. You know that noise, that hum and everything? And one of the women in the group said, oh, that reminds me of my 3 kids turning their chairs upside down, or not turning them upside down, but just playing around. I'm in a boat, I'm in a plane, they get their chairs and line them up, and they'd be in an aeroplane. And I said, is that an invitation? And went, if you want to. So I went, okay, I need 2 other people, so 2 other members. This is group process. We got their pamphlets in order, and we were just sitting there on like chairs in the middle of the room. And then one of the other friends came along and started shaking all our chairs. That was painful. It was just like, and then I went around the room, and a couple of people said, I really wanted to join in, but I was too scared that I'd get it wrong. Or I wanted to be the pilot and go, landing. So I kind of think it's about spontaneity, it's about saying yes. It's about saying, what is it that's stopping you doing that? And just so if you see a low wall and you want to climb on it and you're able to climb on it and you're going, I don't want to do it, I might get stupid. Do it. I did another thing when I work in recovery colleges with people who are in all stages of recovery as a writer. And I'd given them a lesson the week before. I said, come back next week, try something you've never tried before within reason. Do not put yourself in danger, but just give it a go, take a risk. I will do it as well. So, you know, something simple like bare feet on the grass, something as simple as that. And so I thought the thing that I really always wanted to do is go on a swing, because I haven't been on a swing for years. I went to our local park when there weren't that many people there, and I sat on the swing. I've never felt so sick in my life. I did it because I wanted to see what it was like. Had I not done it, I wouldn't have known that not for me. So I just say, be curious, take a risk, say yes, give it a go, get a friend to do it with you. And I guarantee you that there are other people who will look at you because you will give them permission to do it and enjoy it. So that's kind of playing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And that perfectly segues into Jessica. So Jessica has been a bit more extreme in her play. Because when I first met her, she was swimming the channel, tried to do it breaststroke. She did it, cool. And then she was like, oh, I need to do something else. Did you run the marathon next or climb Everest next? The marathon was next, and then you climbed Everest. So we don't have to be quite as crazy as this woman in the middle, but she is inspiring. And one thing she talks about is supporting women to live big and brave. And she's doing retreats and doing all sorts of things now to try and help women do that. So it's going to be perfect for you. So it's a bit more. How do we need to be big and brave?
I'd just like to say that I'm still nervous.
Oh,
No, truly, because actually, you know, my mantra is live big and brave, and it has been for a long while. And I did all these things that you just said. Yes, I did, and I did them in my 40s, and it came out of a lot of pain. 10 years of infertility, 11 rounds of unsuccessful IVF. And in fact, it's really interesting hearing all of you talk about the menopause, because I've been a bit like talk to the hand about the menopause, because I feel like I've had one massive gynecological issue that I've had to deal with in my life, and I don't want to think about any others. So I've just lived my life and have done all these amazing things which have helped and healed me extraordinarily. I did summit Everest age 51, which I do not recommend.
anyone
You don't do it, Shelley. Yeah, and it's changed my life for the better. But you know, I'm on my biggest adventure right now, because you know, I am an adventurer, and I say that an adventure, and this does lead beautifully from what you said, Shelley, because it's for me. If I'm giving a public talk, I will tell you that it's doing something new, doing something that has effort for you, only you can answer that, and it's doing something where the outcome is unknown. And, you know, a year ago, when you showed up that wheel and when you interviewed me, I was doing everything on that wheel.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. And I've actually stopped doing everything right now. I don't move every day anymore. I don't see people. I've actually really retreated. I don't talk and I am living my biggest, bravest life because I am on this adventure. Yeah. So I would say, and I have no idea what the outcome is. This may be the very last time I speak in public because, you know, like it has been 3 months where I've done nothing, and I do feel really terrified right now because I also just don't know what is ahead. But like, I just also really believe that whatever is ahead and whatever you do take an adventure, then you are living your fullest life. And we are, you know, I know it's a cliche, but we only have one life, right? This is it. And it's a terrible world, but it's also a wonderful world. So we might as well just live it. So that's what.
And we should be frightened. We do not know what's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
you know, we don't know. And be frightened. We're all the right age to afraid to feel the fear and do it anyway, right? Except that, I don't know about you, but I just did it anyway. I didn't do feeling the fear. You're feeling the fear. It's really the right thing to do.
Yeah. If we're feeling the fear.
Yeah, if it's there, feel the fucker.
Yeah. When you feel the fear, that's it.
Yes.
When you feel the fear, which is what I fear now, because I don't know what's ahead, then you know you're living.
Yes.
You know, then you know you're alive. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much, because that is real. That is really real. And
Well, you know me.
Yeah, I know you.
I don't know how to be anything else.
and it's ups and downs. It's always going to be ups and downs. And we've got to do what's right for us. We've really got to do what's right for us. So we're almost at the end. I just wanted to ask everybody, the final chapter of the book, I went through the answers to when I asked the women what advice would they give their younger self. And I've also asked everyone on my podcast that as well. When you ask people that, sometimes they say things very specific to themselves, and sometimes they say something that's very general. So I wanted to ask the panel now, there are some younger people here, just in a very general way, rather than specific to you today, what advice would you like to give the younger women who are coming up now, who are coming up now? Who wants to start? Anyone can start. Go.
I said it already, actually, be curious.
Yeah.
Be curious, say yes within reason. Be aware of other people around you, take an interest, be nosy, actually, be curious, be nosy. And just look after yourself. I think self-support is something that I would say is also really important for the younger people. Yeah, curiosity for me is like vital.
Anyone else want to go?
I would suggest, if it's at all humanly possible, stop hating your body sooner rather than later. Our culture wants everybody with a cisgender female body, and God knows all the poor trans and non-binary people, to hate our bodies. Stop hating our bodies sooner rather than later. I'm still working on it myself. I hope you all get there sooner than I can.
Anyone else? Nitu?
I would say slow down. Really slow down, and at every stage try and say, I'm going to put myself first, not because I'm being selfish. If I put myself first, I'll actually have time for things around me and for people around me. And I think that was what I should have done, and that's what I would ask younger generations to do.
Yeah, especially now, it's got a lot worse than yeah.
Prioritize pleasure, more orgasms.
I went to add one this morning.
pleasure, fun, rest, muck about. Yeah.
Just always say, be braver sooner.
Perfect, but I'm going to finish up. I'm actually on time, I can't believe. There was very one final question. A small action to take this week to be more joyful. This is a hard one, actually. What would it be? What would you do in the next week? Anything you're going to do to be joyful?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I think in a culture where we are kept in a constant state of desire, a constant state of dissatisfaction because our bodies are wrong, that we're told that we need stuff, we need to buy stuff all the time. And one of the things that aging gives us is that we get to feel joy now. So my intention for the week is for the month, this lunar month, is to enjoy what I have. So currently I'm enjoying the feeling of my socks on my toes, which is deeply pleasurable.
Great tides, everyone. Great tides.
I'm enjoying the fact that we're all here, that we bloody showed up in person. We managed to get out of bed this morning. Often isn't a divine, wow, I'm getting out of bed. And so through my day, just enjoying what I have.
Brilliant. No?
Back into the swimming pool, cold water swimming, it does it for me, and I did go during winter when it's 3 degrees in a London pool. And it's bloody cold, but it feels fantastic. So if you've ever wanted to do it and you're too afraid or too it is cold, you've got to tell him and that's enough.
All my mates are going. You tried it. I've tried to get them a cat. It's a team.
Who does bloody water swimming? I'm going tomorrow morning, that's my thing.
I'm going tomorrow morning.
No,
It's not, you said it's bloody cold. Can I correct you? It's not bloody cold, it's fucking cold. That got me a t-shirt which says it on it.
No, the other day, and it was cold, but honestly, I feel alive. We talked about being alive. I felt alive. I feel invigorated. It keeps me going for the whole day. So I would just say, try it. Be curious about it.
So I was in Brighton doing it was the big swim. The big swim is 500 women in Brighton and 500 women in Poole that all go screaming and shouting into the water. It was wild. It was really, really wild. And I was a part. Before that we did a panel discussion about Meet the Author, and I was there. And they asked me how I started swimming, and I mentioned Jessica because I'd always wanted to any puddle of water in my life. I'd always get in. But I'd been out with Jessica one December for lunch. And then the next day I went to a local, I had been asking, I've been very curious about it, and I've been asking because I knew where to go, but it was just going to give me the push. And then I went the next day and it was.
Now you're a better swimmer than me.
No, not better. It was about 5 degrees. What am I doing? Anyway, but then I became totally addicted to it. So yeah, I'm going in the morning.
It's not about the swimming though, it's just about get in, drink it and get out.
Yeah.
Or have a freezing cold shower, that doesn't.
I don't like cold showers.
No, don't like.
I don't like cold showers. Jessica.
I would say this weekend, put on your favourite music track that makes you happy and write a list to it of all the things that bring you joy and then prioritise them. Swimming is not on my list. I do swim because the water is really, really important to me and it changed my life. But it doesn't make me happy. Eating and drinking that's something I have.
You did say sitting on your sofa eating.
Yeah, that's why I swim, that's why I walk, that's why
I mentioned it on the show. I mentioned it a few times. Right, sorry, carry on.
I have two suggestions. One is because I had the great privilege of going from a South London council estate at the age of 5 with my family to a very small town in Aotearoa, also known as New Zealand, where I then just played around in bare feet.
Yeah.
Bare feet on the grass, bare feet on the spring grass, if you can possibly find any. Your neighbours, the wooded lawn out there, your feet on the ground feeling the earth. makes such a difference. And if you want to, while you're doing it, sing. It doesn't matter who's listening, it doesn't matter what's going on, but the thisness of going, oh, you don't have to be any good at it. But the grounding and the reaching up of singing while touching the earth is everything.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yep, we're not wrong.
For me, I would say, if you can put your phone away this weekend. I actually read a book. I'm really so excited about the book. Read a book in Codrington. And I will read your book. This one, and Lady Dan's Circle of Women is a Circle of Friends is what I'm reading right now, and fabulous. Makes you realize how wonderful we are living as women in this generation compared to 1469.
Wow.
You know? But yes, put your phones away. We get so easily distracted from our loved ones, distracted from ourselves. So I just think, want to be joyful, put your phone away.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I'll pick up with that. Turn your notifications off. I get triggered by everyone's notifications that go on all the time.
Yeah.
I turned my notifications off years ago.
Yeah.
My sister's staying with me, her phone is, what about WhatsApp? It went on the thing, I was like, so, I was like, oh my God, I'm so triggered. So, yes. Turn your notifications. Do you know what? No one needs to contact you every minute of the day. And tell your loved ones, if they need to contact you urgently, let me phone you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the phone, but not on I haven't got landline, but yeah, don't do that. Right, we're going to finish before we get some dancing.
Yay!
Woo! Some and the best foods that we're going to make us happy, and we can sing, and we can eat and drink and be merry. Yeah, DJ Rosie. So this is DJ Rosie. I met DJ Rosie years ago. She does some events with Sarah called Disco Yoga. And some of us here have been to a festival called Wildwood Festival, and we do disco yoga at Wildwood Festival, and it makes us laugh. We are playing. Yeah, we're not going to do so. You can see here. There's pictures of me at Latitude and at the big Wildwood Festival doing it. I'm at the front. Always make my mates go do it. Really embarrassing. But I wanted to say the very last word. So years ago, I met someone called Miriam Akhtar. And Miriam Akhtar is a positive psychologist, and she calls me head twin. We walked into we were filming a comedy called Comedians Give Lectures, and we turned up and we looked at each other. And we were like, we really look similar. We're the same height. We look similar. She's a few years younger than me. We both had a red dress. And that could be embarrassing, but I bought a blue dress as well. So I changed and left her in the red dress. And we've become really good friends. And I did a positive psychology course a few years ago. And the thing I really took from it is, if you're struggling every morning, before you jump out of bed, just lie there and think, what can I do today that is going to give me a little bit of joy? And it could be having a candlelit bath. Reading a book for 10 minutes, going for a walk in nature, running around the garden in bare feet. Naked, no, not naked.
Yeah.
Naked. I mean, that's just silence there. It could be cooking a really lovely meal. It could be what I'm doing. I'm going dancing. I'm going to do some dancing, and I'm going swimming, and Sunday I'm going for a sauna. So whatever, what you want to do, not what anyone else wants you to do, just what you want to do. So if you're struggling, just think about that, something little that is going to bring you joy. And I started doing that, and there were definitely some days where I thought, ooh, actually I can't think of anything. And then I made sure I put something in it, so put it in. And I go back to what I said earlier about time. Surely we can make 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day to have some self-care and look after ourselves and do something that's not going to be this crazy life. And I totally agree with Nitu. I have been trying to leave that phone a lot. I tried to do it. I'm going to the sauna, I'm going to leave the phone then. I worry about the kids. Anyway, but I told them, just ring me if it's important. So let's leave the phones. Let's really concentrate on ourselves and bring more joy, because once you start a little bit of joy, it does snowball. You'll bring more and more joy. But do what you need to do for you, and not what anyone else needs. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to stop. They not have to talk too much. So, thank you so much. Right, do not leave yet. You've got to do a bit of dancing, okay? Even if you think, oh, I've got to go. No, right, dance to 2 tracks, okay? I want everyone out there to go. There's also some spaces around there. There's food, and thank you, Yvonne, for you the food and everyone else. And let's go.